All right, we're going to get started. Welcome everybody to the ARPA Day Committee meeting for Monday, June 12th, 2023. As always, the meeting of the ARPA Day Transformational Committee are public meetings as defined by the Connecticut Freedom of Information Act and should follow these guidelines. As this public meeting is held virtually, it will be recorded and made available to view on the DDS website. Committee members must make a good faith effort to state their name and title if applicable each time they speak during the meeting. If a committee member would like to speak, please raise your hand and one of the co-chairs will acknowledge you. There is no public comment portion to this meeting. Members of the public are able to join, watch, and listen only. Which leads me to say, my name is Keith Lavalette from DDS. All right, any changes, questions with the minutes from the 5/1/2023 meeting? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of the 5/1/23 meeting?
So moved. Beth Fisher from Keene.
Okay, Beth, second.
I'll second. Varian
All right,
Saltu,
Varian.
South Africa Coordinator in the North Region in the Willimantic office.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, they pass. Okay, next on the agenda, we have Trevor with a Selm Commission update. Trevor?
Hi, everyone. Trevor Rogers, DDS Employment and Day Services. I just have a really brief overview of, I'm going to review quickly just what I'm talking about, but then I'm going to give a tiny update on where we're moving forward from here. So if some of you had attended or all of you have attended some of the previous meetings. So the SELN is a state employment leadership network. They connect together states, staff who are working towards expanding employment for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They are made up of program staff from ICI and the National Association of State Directors of Developmental Disability Services, NASD, I want to say that's how you say it, even though there's a lot of D's in there. And so a couple of years ago, we re-engaged as the Department of Developmental Services with the SELM, and they did a findings and observations report. And it is all focused on employment. These are all of the SELM membership states because their whole goal is expanding outcomes for integrated employment. And so they worked with DDS staff members, stakeholders, individuals to really analyze our employment services specific to employment. And they released in February of 2021 a findings and observations report, which reviews some areas of weakness, also areas of strengths, and recommends areas to focus on. It was organized into these 7 categories, and in response, DDS put together the Employment Services Strategic Planning Group. And the groups have been working since I want to say it was August of 2021. So we're coming just up on 2 years at the end of this summer. And so a lot of different accomplishments have been made since that time. A lot of overhaul of our one-time employment incentives, which was one of the big pieces of the financing and contracting methods subsection of the report. We did things like increasing the group day rate, created additional benchmarks. We increased the amount of funding for benchmarks by double, and we decreased the deliverables so that it's easier for state staff and provider agency staff. We made blended funding a little bit easier by removing our ISE 5-hour cap that used to exist. We've done a lot of training and outreach, purchasing additional training for state staff. We've been working on updating our marketing materials for employment and day services. And finally, we created a transportation work group that is it just met last week. It's bringing together a large group of stakeholders to bring together and share best practices about transportation. And we're actually starting to take on a next step, which is we're creating a survey that can go out to our individuals. So we can really identify specifically some of the areas of focus, because there are all sorts of things bringing together data about transportation, but not all of them are specific to to our population within DDS. And so the next steps from here, we are working on our final report, our DDS Sound Employment Services Strategic Planning Committee final report, which will review those accomplishments and the many others that happened, but also it's going to review the final set of recommendations that were put together by all of these groups, because there are a lot of recommendations that are now out there to use different resources to assist some of the areas of weakness surrounding employment services. And so the next step is, once this report is finalized, we're going to bring together groups of stakeholders to start working on an implementation phase. Because now that we've done all of our data collection, working with different stakeholders, the next step is looking at the different recommendations and seeing how they can be put into place. And so we'll be meeting with a large group of stakeholders, our employment and day team, our sound project team, some of the ARPA leads, and different DDS stakeholders from all different regions, but also job titles. And this implementation group is going to review the different thematic overlaps between ARPA and Sound and a few other initiatives we have at DDS to determine the next steps so that we can actualize and put into place some of the recommendations that have not been put into place yet, but are recommendations to strengthen our employment services. And so I will keep the committee updated on that. We're hoping to have our report finalized by the end of this month, and we've been starting to do some outreach to the different internal stakeholders to bring them together and start organizing a time where we can bring everyone together and really look at how things overlap and then how we will reorganize. Because when we do begin implementation, we're not going to be implementing based on the 7 categories you saw. Things are going to be organized by the theme and how they connect with other pieces of different initiatives and projects. And so that's where we're left right now. And hopefully at the end of the summer, we'll have some really exciting things to share. And I know that by the next time we meet, I should have our final recommendations document that I can share with Keith so that he can share it with the group.
Thank you, Trevor. Any questions for Trevor? Beth?
Thanks, Keith. Beth Fisher, CUNY Employment Opportunities. Trevor, thanks for the update. I just looking at the list of bullets of who will be part of that implementation group, just isn't really clear to me if it will include current employment providers.
Yes, so we will bring together, in addition to reaching out to all of the stakeholders who are part of the strategic planning groups, we will do another round of outreach for those who are interested. So our employment and day service providers, individuals and family members, DDS staff, but also other state agency staff, because we've been working a lot more, and interagency collaboration is one of the pillars. So we will be making sure there will be some internal organization before we get to that point. But once we do officially launch, we will be inviting different stakeholders who are interested to join those groups.
That's good to hear. I mean, I just kind of want to underscore, I think it's critical that you have good representation from the employment provider community in order for this to be successful. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And I agree. We need all of the different stakeholders, including our employment providers, to make sure that we're not missing any piece of the puzzle.
Any other questions for Trevor? All right, thank you, Trevor. I appreciate it. All right, next is the Deloitte presentation, and I do not believe Betsy or Julie is on the call, but I believe we have Owen today. Owen is a member of the Deloitte team, and I don't think you've been in this committee. I'm not quite sure if you've been here or not, Owen, but
No, this is Owen Shom from the Deloitte team. I'm generally on the individuals and family side. We had a couple folks out of office today, so wanted to give a brief update today. We had a couple of things we wanted to share on the STEP implementation side. The first of which is, I know many of you, or we have chatted in this meeting previously about some of the submitted plans from providers, and we just wanted to say that no final approvals have happened yet, but those plans are in the midst of that approval process, and we will give an update once we have final numbers on how that's progressing. So we'll stay tuned there and we'll keep you posted. And then in this week and next week, we are starting a series of training sessions for both providers and DDS staff. Sorry, Keith, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to interrupt. I just wanted to let you know, last week, 5 or 6 approval letters went out last week.
Oh, great.
Most in the north and the west. So just a little update there.
Great. Owen Shom, Deloitte, thanks for sharing that. But like I said, this week, following the informational sessions that we had back in May, we have this series of trainings for Connecticut providers and DDS staff. This Thursday, the 14th, is actually, I believe it's this Wednesday. We have our first 2 sessions. On the staff side, we're doing an overview of STEP progress to date and kind of what to expect going forward on the implementation front. And for providers, the session is going to focus on general approaches for strategic planning and kind of how to identify programs for transformation and overall some of the more innovative approaches on the provider side from plans that have already been submitted and conversations that have been had with regions. And we're excited for the provider sessions. We brought in a couple folks who did submit plans already to talk through that real life process and what the coordination looked like with their regional resource administrators, most of whom also are joining those calls to answer questions and provide context throughout. And we also have some representation from DDS leadership on all of those. So we are excited to see how those progress, and hopefully they will be helpful. So those first 2 sessions are this Wednesday, and then we have 4 additional sessions, 2 for providers and 2 for DDS staff coming next week. But we will keep you all posted on how those go.
Keith Lavalette, DDS, any questions for Owen? Go ahead, Beth.
Thanks. It's Beth Fisher from CUNY Employment again. So I just, so maybe Heath, this might be more for you, I'm not sure, but I have not yet received my approval letter, but my understanding is that those letters will include information about how to access the incentives and how they will be paid out and all of that detail. Can you confirm that's in the letter? And if not, how will providers be given that information?
This is Keith Lavalette, DDS. The letters are just a general overview saying, you've been approved. This is the amount, the maximum amount of the approval, and so forth. I did happen to see a draft of your letter, so it is coming to you soon.
Okay.
Your resource administrator was had some family issues and was off last week. So, but it is in draft form at least. It has been. You should be receiving it any day now. I was hoping you'd get it before this meeting, but I guess not.
But, yeah.
So in general, any questions you have for the process, you would go through the resource administrators and they'll direct you to the proper people to move you through your transformation plans.
I guess Beth Fisher from CUNY. I guess I'm wondering, will there be some general instructions about how providers access their incentives?
Oh, you'll get an authorization and it'll be essentially the same process you go through now when you move an individual. But you'll just get an authorization, and I see Sean on, so before I go any further, I'll let Sean talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sean Bannon, DDS Operations Center. So, yeah, basically, you'll receive your letter. It has like, the financial information in terms of, the amount of the incentives. And a lot of this would follow kind of either current one-time or authorization process. It shouldn't be much of a departure of kind of the systems that you're already familiar with. So some of this will be, annualized authorizations where you're just submitting attendance, and some will be one times.
Great.
But yeah,
Thank you.
work with your,
Great. Thank you, Sean. And while you're on again, Beth Fisher from CUNE, can you confirm that these incentives are not going to be part of any kind of cost settlement?
I will, I hate to say anything without being 100% sure. I would need to go back and check. I know we mentioned in one of the memos that some of this would not be subject to cost settlement. I just don't want to comment on the whole thing without making sure I have the information correctly.
Okay, that information would be helpful. Thank you.
Any other questions for Owen or on the transformation process itself? All right. Thank you, Owen. Appreciate it. All right. We have another newcomer coming on today. Lauren Gray is the Communication and Legislative Program Manager for DDS. And she's going to give us a little, more or less, talk about the website and the changes to the website, correct?
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Gray. As Keith said, thanks for having me. And I'm just going to go over a few step updates from the DDS website, and I hope this will be helpful. I'm really bad at sharing my screen sometimes, but we have the STEP website now. If you haven't visited, it's ct.gov/step. You can also navigate from the DDS homepage by clicking the second link, STEP, Supporting Transformation to Empower People. And this website, I hope, does serve as a resource. It goes over what STEP is. We have links to items and materials for the 7 core services. We also have our latest newsletters and a STEP informational fact sheet and links, if you weren't able to go, to the May virtual forums with the presentations and slides. Employment Services did a really good job. So if you haven't seen that one, I would definitely look at these slides or, watch some of the videos about the 7 supports. We mailed out the June newsletter to mailboxes, but if you didn't get it or if you misplaced it, the newsletter is here in English and Spanish, and it has some of our upcoming summer priorities and some other events. And then on the main STEP page, you can now click into each of the 7 core supports that STEP highlights. Let's just use community companion homes. It has a little description. You can download a fact sheet, and then you can link out to more areas where you can learn more and get started. So this is what all of the fact sheets look like. Again, it has the description and some more information about the benefits, how to learn more, and the challenges, and to help you get started. So this is really like, what the STEP update looks like right now from the website. And if you haven't already, please sign up for our email updates, because we are trying to transition to sending out monthly updates over email. And that includes STEP updates, updates from the commissioner, our newsletters, and other things. in between all of our mailings. So all you have to do is just click here and subscribe. But I do hope you find this helpful. Again, it's ct.gov/step.
Thank you, Lauren. While we're on the communication, I do have access to the second video that was going to go out. I don't think it's out yet, so I wanted to give you guys a sneak preview on it. It's the employment video is one I'd really like to show you, but it hasn't even, it's probably it will be the last video that is produced. So it'll be another month or two away before we see that. But this is the CCH video. So let me share my screen here. That didn't work. There we go.
Susie is shy, very personable, kind, very sweet girl. Susie has been here 10 years. She can take care of herself better than she did when she came in. She has a lot of different skills now. It's a joy to have her in my home.
When I was growing up, I didn't really have the family feel. I feel like I'm part of this family.
The mission of the Connecticut Department of Developmental Services is to partner with individuals and their families to create meaningful opportunities for individuals to fully participate as valued members of their communities.
Susie has developed so many different skills. She's learning how to cook. She's adapting well.
We do a lot of things together, like we'll go shopping, we'll go out to we'll go to the movies, we'll go after dinner, we'll go to our family's house sometimes.
When circumstances make it impractical for a person to live at home, a licensed community companion home is a great option because it offers a family setting for folks with intellectual disabilities. A lot of times parents are a little nervous about, like, how can this caregiver take care of my son or daughter? Like, do they have the same skills? We give significant training, we do background checks, we have a psychologist involved, we have a behaviorist involved, we have a case manager, as well as a technical assistant to help with any issues that might come up in the home.
Go into the homes first before you decide to put a child into the home and see how that home is being run. Let your child come over for a weekend and just start like that.
When I first came here, I was a little nervous, and then once she really got used to me. I got used to her. I found out that she's a nice lady, and she really treats me like she treats like I'm my own daughter.
She's family. I have family that loves Susie as if she was biological. My children calls her my sister. Susie celebrates birthdays here with my family in the backyard. We have big parties for her. We have cookouts, and all the family is here for support.
Parents, when they're raising their child, they've been doing that work their whole lives. And now when they see their child thriving in a community companion home, it gives them a chance to do things they wanted to do, or go out and experience different things, but still knowing that their son or daughter is being taken care of. And that's what every parent wants.
My name is Minnie Carolyn James. I am a CCH provider for the state of Connecticut, the Department of Developmental Services.
I am Susie. I'm from Connecticut, and I love Minnie.
The Connecticut Department of Developmental Services offers a variety of support to help individuals live as independently as possible in places where they can use their personal strengths, talents, and passion. Visit our website to learn more.
So that was the second video of a total of 7 that will be coming out. So, you know, we saw the supportive housing one last meeting, I believe. Well, which one was it? Everybody's shaking. Which Which one did we see first? So, did we see a video the last meeting? Oh, sorry. You guys are on mute, so.
Can you hear me now?
I could hear you now.
It's Catherine Dupree, co-chair. So I don't believe we've seen any video before this one.
Oh, okay. I'm on a couple other committees, so I thought I showed one for this committee, but I guess I was wrong. So, all right. But I think they're doing a good job with them. They're coming along. There's a couple of videos. I think the AT and the remote support had to go back and they had to do some reshoots on that. Those two kind of just put the videos behind a little bit, and I think they're close to scheduling and getting the employment one up and going, but then they have to go through cutting and doing what they do to these videos. So hopefully we'll get to see it at some point soon. Any questions on the communication side for Lauren? She's doing a great job getting the websites up and running, and she's been a great part of the helping the ARPA team move through and doing a wonderful job. So appreciate it, Lauren.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks for having me, everybody.
All right, does anybody have any questions, concerns, future agenda items, anything of that sort? I do want to talk about the meeting schedule. If I could, I did see our next meeting is scheduled for July 3rd. I will be working that day, but I want to make sure other people will be on this call. Because the 4th we're off. Beth? Question?
Beth Fisher from Kuhn. I will not be available that day.
All right. Anybody else? Jennifer?
I will not be available that day.
All right. So the next issue is August 7th. I will be on vacation. So I'm wondering if we maybe schedule something towards the end of July, maybe. Summertime is a terrible time trying to get us all together. Everybody's on vacation and trying to work that out. But
This is Catherine Dupree, your co-chair. I couldn't run it for you August 7th. I'm in Chicago that week.
right. So my thinking, if we can get a meeting time in sometime in July or August, Beth?
This is Catherine. What's the Monday before August 7th? Does that work?
Beth Fisher from Kuhn. It looks like that's the 31st, Catherine, and that would work for me. July 31st.
That would work for me, Keith. This is Catherine Dupree.
And that would work for me. Jennifer, it's good?
Yes, it is.
All right.
This is Catherine Varian. Does that work for you and Raj and Trevor?
Good.
What date again?
July 31st.
July 31st.
John, are you here too?
Yeah, that
That
would
works
work
for
for
me.
me.
Oh, good. I think we got a date here. All right, any other questions? Beth?
Did Keith, just looking ahead at the, Beth Fisher from CUNY, at the calendar, if we're meeting on the first Monday of the month, this September one is a holiday, that's Labor Day. So I don't know if you want to deal with that when we meet on the 31st, or if you wanted to look at that now.
Well, we got time now if we want to do that.
Probably smart.
What about September 11th? Does that work for people, September 11th?
That works for me.
Works for me.
Does it not work for
For
anybody?
me.
All right. So our July 3rd meeting is canceled and our August 7th meeting is canceled. We've rescheduled for July 31st and September 11th. And hopefully there's no more holidays on Mondays going forward, so. All right, with that, any other questions or concerns? All right, Beth, I will follow up with David. Like I said, I did see a draft of your letter, so I was hoping you'd get it by now, but they are busy closing out the year, so.
Okay.
But
Great.
I'll follow up and see if you can get it real soon.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good
Bye.
night.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye now.